What's up, everybody? How you doing? It is the Scene Snob McManhattan here, and this is a special requested review of an episode from one of my listeners, Nick. Thank you, and it's of WWF Mania's May 8th, 1993 episode. I forgot WWF Mania was even a show. Yeah, and I remember it was on Saturday mornings. When I rewatched this episode, I was like, "Oh yes, I remember this. I remember this show being on," and it was pretty cool and nostalgic to go back and look. Now, Nick, I know this may have some special value to you as an episode. I didn't have a connection to it, but it was very cool to see. And thank you for putting it out and requesting it because, like I said, I got to kind of relive it. I watched it with my kids. We all had a good time. They were asking me who everybody was. And it was just kind of fun to watch something from the past. This isn't really my go-to type show, though. I liked the Gorilla Monsoon, Bobby Brain Heenan primetime show as the highlight reel better. That was more back towards the 80s. This was 93. But when I was a kid, I did watch this too Saturday mornings. I remember it came on after the cartoons were on. So you get X-Men, you get Darkwing Duck, things like that. And then this was on USA a little bit later for where I was. And because I was in Jersey City, New Jersey, I was right across the water from New York, so I knew who Todd Pettengill was, because he was the host of Scott and Todd. Later on, like I know who he is, I should say. Um, so that was kind of cool to see him. Because like I said, he hosted a radio show back then. Um, so this episode it was a weekly highlight reel, a Saturday morning show for us to catch up on. If we didn't watch Raw or whatever else, it was mostly seemed like it was garnered for kids, not kids, but like kids, teenagers, things like that. But watching it definitely holds a lot of nostalgia. You can find all these old episodes; they're up on YouTube. So if you're interested in watching them, go check them out. It was like I said. Did I love it? Not really. I mean, I'm not gonna say it was bad, but it was just it's weird because the evolution of pro wrestling has come such a long way since then. But even though I didn't love it, I did enjoy, like I said, watching with my kids, feeling the nostalgia, and seeing a lot of old wrestlers I loved as a kid wrestling. So it was a cool episode. Just a quick rundown of everything. So kind of starts off. Uh, Bam Bam Bigelow Bam Bam Bigelow attacks Sensational Sherry. Tatanka comes out, stops him, then later gets beat up in the backstage area. Bam Bam Bigelow versus Kamala, which was kind of a weird twist because like you just had him attack Tatanka, and then you have this completely other highlight match from a Superstars episode versus Kamala. He won that match. He had Bob Backlund versus Lex Luger, who was the narcissist at the time, was not the face of the company. Hogan was still there. This was Hogan, Yokozuna, Bret Hart, that whole WrestleMania debacle, or SummerSlam debacle, I believe it was. SummerSlam. That whole thing where they traded off the belts and stuff, and Hogan ended up with it. And now he had a rivalry with Yokozuna. So Lex Luger hadn't stepped up as the face of the company yet, so he was still the narcissist. So it was cool because I forgot he had and it didn't happen often, but he had a mirror where he would walk already in the ring, and he would kind of like look in it and talk to himself. So it was kind of funny. And then Bob Backlund to come out was very weird but cool. It was cool this was a lot of they had a lot of King of the Ring qualifier matches in this. They had Mr. Perfect versus Doink, which I thought was, wow, really? Like, but and it was a double count out. No, I'm sorry, it wasn't a double count out. It was a double pin. So neither won and neither qualified. Then they had like a I forgot about this. It's so funny. The Smoking Guns, Bart and Billy. when they were young, and they had the mullets, the long hair, and the beards, and they're dressed as cowboys, and they're doing like a promo. They're doing a shoot promo and taking over the tag teams, and they're just so much dressed as cowboys. It was funny to see. Then you had Shawn Michaels versus Hacksaw, which ended in a count out because Shawn Michaels left, and then it was a big setup for the next week on Raw. They were going to do a lumberjack match for the Intercontinental belt. So that's how far back he goes. Shawn Michaels, Intercontinental Shawn Michaels. He hasn't even stepped up to the plate yet. So like they talk about King of the Ring, they go over all the different qualifying matches and stuff. So that was kind of cool to see, because I always loved King of the Ring, and I was sad to see it go when it did. So I mean, it didn't go, but like the pay-per-view went, and now it's mostly handled on Raw, and then they'll do a match. They did the match on Raw this past year, so it was. I feel like they've really let the King of the Ring go when it was a special thing for a long time, and a lot of big names came out of King of the Ring. I mean, Stone Cold probably the biggest, but I wish they would go back to it. I always love that tournament style. Like, do the qualifying matches on Raw and SmackDown and such, and then bring it back in a pay-per-view. You have so many pay-per-views. Why not do something cool with King of the Ring again? I don't know. That's just me. Then they had Mr. Hughes in a squash match versus a jobber. That was like the last match. And it was so bizarre. I forgot Mr. Hughes was even a thing. I even had to go up and look at it again, because I remember him. I remember seeing him. I remember all that, but it was just crazy. And he's in a squash match. Who has a squash match in a highlight reel TV show? What's the point? I don't get it. Like, I get it if he did it on Raw or did it on Superstars, one of the shows, but why put it in a highlight reel? It's a squash match. And then the show ended with Undertaker came out and did a shoot promo on Giant Gonzalez. I remember that feud. Oh man, the Taker deserves so much more. Yeah, and that was pretty much the whole episode. So, in a nutshell, it was cool though, and they bounced around. Like, you saw Raw back in the day when it was at MSG, and like you can go back and watch all the Raw episodes, but it was cool to have the little highlights. So with everything. It was pretty sweet, and I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed watching it, and like I said, I enjoyed watching with my kids. I probably am not going to watch the show. Like I said, wrestling has evolved so much that, and I have to keep up with the weekly shows anyway for the 20-minute wrestling podcast, but it was definitely cool to go and check this out. So thanks again, Nick. I appreciate it. If anybody else has any special requests, you want me to watch old stuff, old pay-per-views, old shows, wrestling and such, or anything else on any one of my other shows, just make sure you message or comment and let me know. I'm happy to do it. And give us a like and subscribe here on YouTube, and hit that notifications button, because we always have content coming out all the time. Go check out on Facebook the Scene Snobs page. That's where it all started. That's where all of this started, and now it's grown into this big thing. It was just articles on a picture on Facebook, but I am very active on there. I read my messages, and I check out all my comments and stuff. So, and I'll interact. Go check out on Instagram and Twitter. I am at the Scene Snob, so give me a follow, and I am also very active on there as well. And you get updates on what we're doing. We have new shows coming out. Go check out thescenesnobs.com. That's where you can listen to 20-minute wrestling podcasts. We have links to everything. We also have the Scene Snobs podcast, a Marriage Like That podcast, Married Movie Challenge, which is my wife and I doing movie reviews of old bad movies where we challenge each other to watch them. And then we have my video reviews, the Scene Snob video reviews. We have a few other podcasts coming up, and some more shows. So go check it all out. Let me know what you think. Follow us. Take care of us. We'll take care of you. Love you. Have a good night.